If she ever gets the chance to get into office, we're not going to let that happen. You know, I was supposed to be nice. They say something happened to me when I got shot. I became nice. And when you're dealing with these people, they're very dangerous people. When you're dealing with them, you can't be too nice. You really can't be. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay? They want me to be nice.
Well, I think she's one of the weakest candidates I've ever seen in the history of our country. I mean, intellectually, just really kind of the bottom of the barrel. And from the standpoint of just who she is and the policies, the positions that she's taken, her failure to do anything in terms of the border, that sort of thing, I think it's just a failure from top to bottom. I think she was a DEI hire, and I think that that's what we're seeing. And I just don't think that they have anybody else. I just think that they're in real disarray.
Biden said, first off, he said he's going to hire a black female for vice president, and that he just skipped over. What about white females? What about any other group? It just, when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president.
So are you suggesting she was a DEI hire?
100%. She was a DEI hire. He said he was going to hire, and she didn't. Her record is abysmal.
Contention. I'm going to just provide some context here. Let's go to it.
She represents something which I believe is probably the amalgam of the spirit of Jezebel, and in a way that'll be even more ominous than Hillary, because she'll bring a racial component, and she's younger. And so this is going to be a real thing to rise above that.
They've kind of painted themselves into a corner with identity politics, picking certain, personality traits, sexual preferences, things like that, to put people in positions, and we need those qualified people.
DEI does not work anywhere.
DEI doesn't work anywhere?
Yes, and she's a big pusher of it. No, it doesn't work. If you're qualified for the job, you should have the job. If you're not qualified, you shouldn't have it.
Were you opposed to affirmative action then?
The biggest joke in the world.
Got to choose between a mentally incompetent president and a DEI vice president.
And with DEI hiring, in which demand exceeds supply, always, that's just the way it is, you're not going to find another Kamala.
Just let her be who she is. She's a very unserious person. She has not succeeded in anything she's done. As I mentioned, this is the great example of affirmative action. This is a great example of DEI. We're talking about a person who has a skin color, but skin color does not denote merit, does not denote competency. And she is a very incompetent person.
Wow. They just anointed Kamala Harris. She's received no vote. And when I mean no votes, I mean she was the first one out of the race. She never got a primary vote. Now they've anointed her as a leader. She didn't get any Democratic primary in this election as well. So what do you make of this? They said they were going to run on democracy, and this seems real democratic.
All right, before she responds, I have to quickly say they
died. Oh my gosh, we had to basically get a proof of life in a phone call from Joe Biden, the current president. I'll remind everybody, yesterday, whenever Kamala Harris went to that Wilmington campaign office, this is insane. Do they really think the American people want to vote for this party? This is what this party is doing to the
You seem to think they want to vote for this party.
Country? Wow. You are exactly right, Lawrence. I'll remind the audience how the process is actually supposed to work here in America. These folks in Washington, D.C. actually work for us. We, the people, we are actually supposed to vote for them and elect them to these offices. And yet it appears a lot of people for a long time knew Joe Biden could not actually run this race and actually probably shouldn't be president of the United States right now. Some people might say that that June 27th debate with Donald Trump, which was obviously disastrous, maybe was the first step in pushing Joe Biden out. Then you had the press conference, the NATO press conference, where he stood up and
Secretary telling you that the DEI vice president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is, and the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was hard.
Sane people, those very sane people, are now trying to convince us that Kamala Harris is some political juggernaut. She's historic. She's young. By the way, she's going to be 60 on Election Day.
I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History.
This point, it wasn't just that they asked for a pause. The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes.
But it seems, yeah, you got to turn down the volume.
I just went into another room.
Okay.
I just hope the American public sees through Kamala Harris, because I'm really scared. I feel the women are so vulnerable and stupid, frankly. That, I'm just wondering.
Oh, you think women will vote for her because she's a woman?
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid the way they're idolizing her.
Who's idolizing her?
All this publicity she's getting, and
the fake news media. Yeah, sure, the ladies of the View and all that. Who cares? They're preaching to their liberal choir of sycophants.
But what I wanted to ask you is, Washington D.C. on Eastern Standard Time?
Yes, it's on the East Coast. It's on the ocean. It's on the East Coast.
I just couldn't remember, because I thought maybe that was the reason for the time.
No, they probably did multiple. They probably did multiple takes. Nah, really? Jew. I mean, what the hell? I mean, how does someone like Kamala's husband process that?
Well, he's got to be like that. How does he process living with Kamala? He's got to. By the way, he's a Bill O'Reilly lookalike?
Nah, really?
He really is.
Really? I got to look at him again.
Very perceptive.
Really?
O'Reilly.
Doug Emhoff?
Yeah, he does. Take a look at his face. I mean, he's a little heavier than Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, he does.
First they thought it was Bill O'Reilly.